And with that, we welcome you to this week's installment of Dads Not Always on Wrestling here on the Jeff Meacham Network. And yes, we will be talking about the dreaded Vince Reigns, but that comes later, kids, with the running and screaming. Lord
Very
knows
much
I'll
so.
be screaming and running today on this show. Wow. Thank you all for the endurance test. I promise you we won't go this long this week. Hopefully.
That's the main reason that we omitted those from our list.
Yes.
Because if I had those on my list, and I know Jeff would have them on his list, that's going to be a long time.
That's the whole show.
Talking about those.
That's the whole show right there. The whole hour.
So it was me who came to Jeff and was like, okay, look, I think we can both agree that these are number 1 and number 2 worst reigns of all time.
Right.
Whichever Vince you want to slice it. But let's throw those away.
Yes.
And let's take a look at 10 other worst champions.
Right.
And y'all know that we film in advance.
Right.
Truth be told, I got Jeff with his wheels rolling so much with what I was teasing about this list. It is legitimately 10:25 at night as we are filming this because he wanted to see what I dug up so badly.
I got one better. It's 10:25 in the evening in May as we record this. This is September that you guys are seeing this for the first time. That's okay. Empty house, beautiful thing. And he outright refused to show me his list. I'm like, we're doing this now. So here we go. It's almost 10:30 at night on a Saturday night. I feel like the movie. We ain't got shit to do, ain't got no kids. Hell with it. Let's do the damn thing.
And we're coming to you live from within the Thunderdome. So, you know.
They were the Thunderdome, which is like a decision of itself. So, yeah. Anyway, we agreed that the two Vinces will be addressed. Haven't decided when yet. We'll probably do it in between just to get it out of the way between he and I, because I was a fan. Everybody knows I was a fan before Jay as far as long-term thing. We were both fans during both of those dreaded clusters of reigns. So let's not kid ourselves and think that either one of us were exempt from the horrors that was Vince Russo as WWE champion or Mr. McMahon as ECW champion. But I think he and I can both agree that I can wax way more proxy on that and just be so near puking about either one of them that we better save it for just before I start. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, with his top 10, bottom 10, if you will, of the worst, the worst championship reigns in history, here he is, the Renegade himself, JJ Williams.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And like Jeff said, I wanted to keep this a surprise. Y'all know we use StreamYard to do our stuff. So we're actually filming my list through my StreamYard. That way I have complete access to my photos and Jeff knows not what is coming up.
I am in the dark, 100%.
And it is this chaos, this intrigue, this suspense that provoked this late night filming.
Yes.
And I'm going to say, my first three names that I'm going to throw out there very well may come as controversy to our loyal fans. But with that disclaimer, I want to say this. Don't think so much about who the person is that's holding the belt. Think about what they did with the belt. Like, was this reign worth anything in the long run?
Right.
Okay. With that being said, my number 10 had multiple reigns with this championship. And I'm not going to discount their reigns overall because let's be honest, this person became the face of this division.
Ooh.
However, in its inception, July 20th, 2008, at the Great American Bash.
Oh, okay.
I still to this date feel that the wrong person won. And maybe it's my personal bias here, but I feel like if you want to start a new championship, you need a dignified champion holder. So my number 10, Michelle McCool.
I can't believe I didn't think of that right off the bat, knowing you and knowing Natty. I couldn't. I didn't even enter my head. But yeah, we've talked about this, you and I, since it happened, pretty much.
Like I said, I've eased off on Michelle a lot here in recent years.
Oh yeah.
And I don't have near the amount of disdain and hatred for her that I had when she was an active competitor.
No.
But like I said, when you're jumpstarting a division, you want somebody to hold the title that's going to bring some prestige to the title.
Definitely.
And granted, that little pink butterfly championship was not necessarily going to be held by the greatest women's competitors ever.
Right.
Now, there were some damn good women's wrestlers that held the Divas title.
Oh, yeah.
So we won't take that away.
Including Natty, I believe, right?
But when you think of a diva, you think of a model. You think of pretty. You think of, to take a phrase from TNA, the beautiful people.
Yes.
I don't feel Michelle was ready at the point when she won her first title. And that's the only reason why it is on my list. Second, third, fourth reigns, okay. She done put in her work. She did, like I said, she became the face of that division.
Yes.
Didn't deserve to be the first one.
But you said, you think of diva, you think of things like people. How often were Lady Cool compared to Angelina and Velvet? So there you go.
My number 9 comes to us from an episode of SmackDown.
Miles way too evil. I am not liking this. I'm scared. I swear on my kid. No idea what he's gonna say. I swear.
March 28th of 2000.
Oh.
This person would win the championship and then end up holding the belt for almost 5 months.
Yep.
Before losing it, thanks in part to a special guest referee. Again, it's not necessarily who the person is, but what did they do with it? Number 9, Stephanie McMahon, women's champion.
I almost chose that picture for if I put it on my list. I almost chose that picture. I was kind of looking through and making decisions.
I had another image that I wanted to use. It just didn't crop friendly.
I see. Okay.
This one, not only cropped friendly, but just look at that smug look on her face.
Oh yeah, that is our Stephanie, man, right there. Like just like full of her own shit. Like, that's right. I'm Stephanie McMahon, and you're not.
I mean,
Love it.
she defeated Jacqueline, who was arguably one of the greatest female wrestlers of that era.
Oh, yeah.
And I give it to the fact that she dropped it to my girl, Lita.
Yes.
But if it wasn't for The Rock's shenanigans as special guest referee, we very well could still be suffering under this reign of terror.
Wow.
She barely ever defended it.
Yeah.
She did nothing to bring prestige to it.
No.
I love me some Stephanie, and I especially love me some this era Stephanie.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But her, with that title on her shoulder, was bad for business.
Definitely.
Bottom line.
It's funny. Like, you said one defense between the SmackDown you mentioned and the Raw she lost it to. And it wasn't really a defense. And poor Stephanie. Anyway, go ahead.
My number 8 is probably going to be the most controversial.
Oh.
Because we're talking about a Hall of Famer. We're talking about an icon. We're talking about a legend.
Oh.
We're talking about a hardcore legend.
Okay.
We're talking about his TNA Heavyweight Championship.
Oh, wow.
Mick Foley from Lockdown defeating Steen inside the 6 Sides of Steel, holding the belt for 2 months and 2 days.
Wow.
We all know I love me some Mick.
Yes.
But him with this belt did nothing for his legacy, did nothing for his career, did nothing for the company. If anything, it held TNA back at a time when it really could have been thriving and growing. Before the dark times, before the Empire, before the Hogan Bischoff administration.
Oh, geez, here we go.
But seriously, like, the match against Steen was decent enough.
Right.
But what did Foley as TNA champion really do?
Yeah. You're not wrong, brother. You got it. Absolutely.
My number 7 is another. I'm sorry if I get to like laughing through these because I legit am like trying to watch Jeff's reaction as I talk because of the sheer surprise value.
Yeah. So far,
my number 7 is another legend.
Sure.
And there's nothing, I cannot say anything to take away from this person's legacy or the family name in general. Because when you think of this family name, you think of cruiserweights, you think of lucha. I'm talking the Guerrero name. And I'm talking Chavo Classic's cruiserweight title.
That's tremendous.
Defeating his own son and Spike Dudley for a reign that would be just shy of 1 month.
Yeah.
Legit, this was like a Lifetime Achievement Award.
Oh, very much so.
There was no reason to do this. If anything, they should have given it to freaking Hector for having been the goddamn gobbledygooker.
Right?
Hector, not Chavo. It's like, here, Hector, we're sorry we put you in the goddamn turkey suit. Here's a cruiserweight title run.
Our bad for the San Diego chicken attempt. Here you go, brother. He should be in the Hall of Fame because of that shit.
But I mean, you know, again, nothing against Chavo Guerrero or the Guerrero family name, but what did that title reign do?
Yeah.
It stole the thunder from his son.
Oh, very much so.
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
What do you think about it? All three of them were cruiserweight champion at one point or another. Chavo Classic, and Eddie were all cruiserweight champion at some point. Just it's crazy to think of the complete disparity between the reigns of Chavo and Eddie, and then Chavo Classic. Like, ugh, night and friggin' day. And again, not knocking on Chavo Classic. It's just that's a booking faux pas by and large. And as we know,
Russo wasn't even one running the books back then, so you can't blame Russo.
Yeah.
We'll blame him later on in the show for other stuff, but couldn't blame him for this.
Yeah, not for that. For this, yeah. Oh, Lordy. So far, I'm still okay. So far, I'm not surprised or aghast at your decisions. So
no,
I'm
surprised that the first three didn't rattle your brains a little bit. The rest of them, I figured you'd kind of be on board with. Well, the first three were the ones that I was like the most concerned.
Well, we will definitely get more into that as we move along here in this endeavor.
Speaking of moving along, this one is kind of an ABC, if you will. And I'm sorry to take a cheap way out of this, but they all kind of fall in the same category of how they got their titles.
Right.
So I felt like lumping them all together.
Makes sense.
The first one I'm going to touch on comes from an episode of Nitro.
Oh, okay. So,
July 5th, 1999. When a young David Flair was awarded the title by his dad after stripping Scott Steiner of the belt the same night.
Yep.
He only held it for about a month before he lost it to the man who shall not be named anymore in wrestling circles. Hey. And for those of you that don't know who I'm talking about, it's Chris Benoit.
Hey, we're on my network, every network. You can say the name. It's okay. Yeah, that one doesn't surprise me at all. It was bad.
Yeah, I mean,
really
he tried. God bless him. He tried. But number one, you're never going to be your dad. And number two, being handed the workhorse title. And you can barely lace your own boots. David Flair is a nice enough guy. I met him when they came to that Thunder at the Long Beach Arena.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, David. No, David, that's a bad David.
David's best work was as Psychopath David once he broke away from his dad again. He lost his damn mind and again, saying the best work of David's career is like saying Fort Knox is my but yeah, his best stuff was with Crowbar and Daphne later when he lost his damn mind. And that was this stuff here, trying to be dad, wearing the robes, having Robinson referee, having Asia as his heavy. It was just so much. There was so much poured into that WCW pot of chili that I don't think even the people in New Orleans would like that shit. Like, for real, it's just like such a mess. So,
ironically, lumped in the same category here from a couple weeks just before this happened.
Okay.
June 21st of 1999, on an episode of Raw, this guy would find the European Championship in Shane O'Mac's travel bag.
Oh my goodness. Tremendous.
And became the European champion, holding it for a little over a month.
Yep.
Midian.
Yeah.
Again, you were handed the belt basically because Shane didn't want it no mo.
Right.
So here, you go defend it.
Yeah. I only hesitated to put him on my list because he actually did defend it pretty well for the month he had it. So,
It just left a bad taste in my mouth.
Oh, 100%. And considering how much even we all now like the European Championship and revere it for what it was, that's definitely a big poop stain on the legacy, without question.
And I mean, I'm sorry, but when the coolest thing about Midian is the Doc Holliday tattoo on his shoulder, I'm just throwing that out there, you
I
know.
am so glad I'm on a show with you and you brought up the Doc Holliday tattoo because I knew you would. I knew you would. So I love it. Thank you for that.
When I first saw it on him, I was like, okay, dude, I can get down with you. I'm your Huckleberry.
That's right. I get you,
But
Dennis. People. That's it. Right there. Love it.
but I mean, then he went from that to being naked Midian and just
Yeah.
no.
Let's not. Wow.
Again,
Talk
the
about
same
Dennis
thing.
Company, man. My goodness. Like, wow.
And then again, in the same vein, from about a month and a half prior to that,
Jeez. Okay, so we're in May now.
also on Raw, this person lost a match
Oh yeah.
for the title and still was handed the championship.
Yep.
Deborah McMichael.
Oh, Deborah. Oh, Deborah.
I mean, you lose a title match, evening gown match, but because Shawn Michaels is a horny little son of a bitch, he's like, well, you know, we saw your goodies. You're the champion. Definitely before he was born again.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, you know,
I don't know, Jay. Seeing Deborah like that made me born again. I don't know about you.
hey-oh.
And to be fair to Deborah, a huge part of that was we're sick of Rena's shit. We need to get rid of her. Here's step one. And really, that's like it or not, and we don't. You know, she was very much becoming an issue. So had to stop.
I guess, but I think she's probably the only person in history. Well, I won't say that because I know the professor will correct me. One of the few people in history to actually lose a match and still win the championship out of it.
Yeah, look, you know what? If I'm Shawn Michaels and Vince McMahon booking, we're good on that. That's okay. And luckily, Deborah's reign wasn't this gargantuanly long thing, so we didn't have to deal with it for too long. And then we got some interesting stuff out of Ivory, which is always, Ivory was always good. I mean, other than a few with Moolah later that year, Ivory's women's title reigns were solid. So,
number 5 on my list should surprise nobody. This one, I'm sure is going to be on your list.
okay.
At least I would like to think it will be. But from November 17th, 1998, Monday Night Raw.
Yes.
Dwayne Gill defeated Christian to become the WWF Light Heavyweight Champion.
Oh, boy.
Of course, he would adopt the Gilbert moniker during the run and hold the title for close to 2 years before losing it to S.A. Rios.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, just think about the bookends there for a minute. He defeats Christian and loses it to S.A. Rios. And in the midst of it all, has a championship run that even makes old Billy Boy jealous.
Right?
While being
a
parody of him lampooning him.
Yeah. When you figure that Gilbert's reign started just before Goldberg's ended, and Dwayne didn't lose the title until just before WrestleMania 2000 on Heat, no less. Wasn't even on Raw. To the man who had been Papi Chulo and was a huge part of WrestleMania 14 in the second match in a different gimmick, losing to Taka for the same title. Okay. I only said all that. It's actually not on my list, believe it or not.
What's that?
I actually said all that just now in your time because not on my list, believe it or not.
Wow. Yep. I am shocked, sir.
Yeah, I
am shocked that Dwayne did not make your list.
It may have been a subconscious thing because I like Dwayne parodying Billy Boy so much. I just didn't even think about making it a bad part of my list. I don't know, but it never even occurred to me, to be honest with you.
All right, fair enough. For number 4, we're going to go back to the land of TNA.
Oh, dear. Here we go.
And we're going to talk about an episode of Impact Wrestling
Okay.
from March 8th, 2012.
Okay.
When Eric Young becomes half of the Knockouts Tag Team Champions alongside ODB.
Oh boy.
And they would hold the titles for over 3 months before Knockouts Division executive Brooke Hogan would strip him of the title due to the fact that he's not a woman. And then the belt would be deactivated a week later and stay dormant until it was resurrected on January 16th, 2021 at
this
Hard
year.
to Kill.
Yeah.
But we've got a man holding a women's championship.
Yeah. I wonder if they watched Family Guy Star Wars before this. I won a title. Great kid. Don't get penisy. Oh wait.
You know, I actually considered Eric Young's first world title run also.
Really? Okay.
Because, again, it seemed like a lifetime achievement award.
True.
We've put you through so much crap. Here's a run with the world title.
God, really? No kidding.
But this one to me just stood out a little bit more for being so ridiculous and so bad.
It's definitely up there with her and Cody Deaner's run, if you want to call it that. Those are both idiots. Oh man.
And I have,
dude, like, God, he's been through every damn thing that any booker in that company would throw at him. He stayed there so long, but by the time he came to WWE, it was like, you're crazy. We'll stick you here for a minute, and then you're going to send you back where you came from. Like, they couldn't do anything with him that wasn't already done to the bastard.
and it's like, for me, I look at Eric and I still think of that clean-cut kid in Team Canada.
Yes.
You know, alongside Bobby Roode and Johnny Devine and Petey Williams.
Coach DeMoore. Oh, God.
But then you look at him there, you know, the grizzled veteran almost.
Yeah.
And nothing against Eric. I love him. He's a great comedic wrestler. And nothing against ODB either.
You're both
I
great.
enjoyed watching her.
Yeah.
But them as a pair, as Knockouts Tag Team Champions, just, you can understand why that belt was deactivated, because, to take a pun from TNA, it just threw the titles into the abyss.
Well, when a co-holder of a tag title that is female centric and they're not either female or transitioning to become one, no. And again, we're not trying to shit on either one of them. I've met both of them. I love them. And you talk about Team Canada, I was there when they regained the titles from 3 Live Crew at Turning Point, man. So seeing those cheating, rotten bastard Team Canada boys walk out of the Impact Zone with the tag straps, it was like, I can get to it. And then, you know, hang out with the master and be way too drunk to be allowed. It's a great night. And yeah, EY's world title reign was definitely a, dude, here, sorry, for real, are bad. And stuff like this, that's why.
Yeah. We're going to stay in TNA land here for a minute for my number 3.
Let me get comfy then for this one.
This one comes to us from September 9th of 2007 and the No Surrender pay-per-view.
Ah, yes.
Adam Pac-Man Jones.
Yep.
Becoming TNA World Tag Team Champion in a match where he scored the pinfall.
Yeah.
Despite not performing a single move the entire match.
Yep.
Because the Tennessee Titans were worried about him getting hurt.
Yeah.
So he had to wrestle without wrestling.
Yes.
And they put a strap on him anyways.
Hey now, family show, kind of.
This goes to show the true power, though, of Ron Killings.
Oh, yes.
Because he carried the team.
Yep.
Called Team Pac-Man.
Right.
And Pac-Man never wrestled.
No.
And still made them tag champions with the reign that lasted just shy of a month.
And when you figure they only lost the titles because they just couldn't sustain the story without Adam wrestling. They couldn't. There was just no way.
No.
So had a little known fact, by the way. Austin Consequences Creed, Xavier Woods, filled in during the tag title loss. And
under the Freebird rule.
Yep, and became champions with Ron down the line. No, with Jay Lethal down the line. But yeah, so Adam Pac-Man Jones was a officially recognized World Tag Team Champion and only got a cover in the title win. Otherwise, no physical involvement whatsoever in either win or loss of the title or defending the title. And that shows the strength of Ron Killings, as you said, and it shows the hot shot tendencies of TNA even back then. When you think about the fact that that championship in that time span, notice Randy said was September?
Yeah.
Inception is May because of the split from the NWA. Team 3D, Kurt Angle, Kurt Angle and Samoa Joe, Kurt Angle and Sting, Team Pac-Man. Within 4 months, bing, 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 bing. Bad. And you talk about ODB and Eric Young being knockout champions. In fact, EY was a woman. Angle held all the gold. Yeah. He damn sure wasn't a X Division. Well, I mean, X Division was no limits, not weight limits, so I get that. But he was tag champion on his own too. So it was a very, very strange year. That first year they had their ultimate falling out the NWA. It was a complete mess of down there in Orlando, without question.
I actually contemplated Angle's X Division title reign. Because got to come back to my, what did he really do with the belt?
Right.
He held it.
And not that he elevated the title because he's Kurt Angle, because he really didn't. But that entire storyline definitely made for, I want to see what's going to happen here. So I watched every week. I ordered the pay-per-views. Back before the network made me not want to spend more than $10 on a pay-per-view, I ordered No Surrender because I wanted to see him face Jay Lethal, defend against Team Pac-Man with Sting, and wrestle for the world title too. I want to see what was going to happen. So I don't necessarily applaud the move by TNA to consolidate into one person, but it definitely made for intriguing television and storylines. So that's the only reason why I didn't have that Kurt Angle cluster reign anywhere on my list either. So other than that, yeah, definitely a mess.
We go now back to the WWE.
The Land of the Titans, yes.
Yes. And we're going to stick with the tag team division.
Oh.
July 24th, 2005, at the Great American Bash.
Ah, yes.
Animal and Heidenreich.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Defeating M&M for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship, which they would hold for about 3 months.
Right.
I picked this picture on purpose because it was before Heidenreich started besmirching Hawk, wearing his own face paint.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
man. Yeah,
I really don't know what else to say about this reign because it was just so bad.
It was, and that's one of the major regrets I have. I don't look back with very many regrets in my professional life. One of them is not getting Joe Laurinaitis on the phone for an actual interview. I did talk to him at length, and he even told me then that, like, you know, they're booking. What am I going to do? You know, the Road Warrior legacy was dead. Without Mike, there was nothing, and they wanted to keep it going. At the time, it tugged at my heartstrings. Why not? And looking back, he was like, whatever. It's barely mentioned on the DVD, so that shows how much it was worth of shit. But yeah, it's the Road Warrior legacy, other than Hawk's demons and whatever, is still very, very spotty, at least in this country. You go to Japan, them motherfuckers are gods still, like to this day. And if you go into Chicago and the Smarts Road Warriors, you may get thrown out of the bar. You may even get killed getting thrown out of the bar, like for real. But unfortunately, the enduring memory in this country of the Road Warriors is stuff like that, the stupid Titantron jump thing, and just people don't. Our generation, like our age guys, they look back at SummerSlam '91. They look back at the wars with Cornette and the Midnights. They look back at the good stuff. People my age and a little bit younger, even, it's all about the Attitude Era and how much of a mess they were. Even with Sonny there, that was a mess too. And we all know how much you and I both love Tammy, but man, that whole thing was a mess too. So it's a shame that this part of that, and it makes a list like this, because the Road Warrior reigns making a list like this should not be happening.
No.
So.
But I mean, it again, I look at that image.
I know.
And I really don't even know what to say. Like, a picture is worth 1,000 words. It's like Heidenreich and Animal.
The same John Heidenreich that was doing whatever he was doing with Michael Cole off camera back in the day. Like, just, ugh, yeah.
And now we come to my number one.
Oh yeah, here we go.
And I'm just going to put the picture up there. I'm not even going to give you the whole hype.
Oh geez, wow. Oh man, poor Bruno. Oh, poor Bruno, man.
January 31st, 2000, Monday Night Raw.
Oh my God.
Hervina, aka Harvey Whippleman, defeats the Cat
for
the WWF Women's Championship in a Lumberjill Snow Bunny match.
Yeah, just.
And he would lose it the next day at SmackDown tapings to Jacqueline.
Dude. I can't even shit on the decision to make it number one, because you're so not wrong. Like, oh my God. It's so
like, don't get me wrong. I love Bruno. Bruno did us a solid back in the day, cutting us that promo.
Yes, he did.
I will forever respect him for doing that.
Dude, he did that for us, and he went and grabbed and ran Dennis Haskins out to us, which was just undeniably above and beyond. So good on him, man. Yeah. Like, for real.
I mean, at a time when DADS was still cutting its teeth.
Yeah.
And getting a promo like that from Harvey, from DDP, like, really mattered to us.
It did, for sure. Still does.
So I'm never going to knock him as a dude, because as a dude, here's our one for the show. He's solid as fuck.
For real. Well, I reused it twice, but that's okay. It's me, though, so it's different.
But that reign. And I mean,
oh my God. Okay, first of all, the reign. Second of all, the whole sentence you said, Hervina defeats the Cat in a Lumberjill Snow Bunny match, loses it to Jacqueline, who proceeds to lose it to Stephanie. I think Jackie should have been a Hall of Famer 20 years ago. We're sorry, Jackie, for real. Like, sorry.
Right?
All right. We love you, girl. And Jackie's a Hall of Fame quality person, too. Let's not forget that. She's a doll. Love her. Love Jacqueline.
So there we go. There was my secrecy.
Whoa.
There was my keeping a tight lip on my picks.
Dude.
Can you see why I wanted to?
Yes, very much so. Before we get into the Vince dissection, let me say this. We do share some, but somehow we do not share the same pictures except for one. So cool. I'm very proud of that. That we both found, other than one person, different pictures for the various reigns. Same reigns, just different pictures. All right, Vince. All right, here we go. So let me talk about the first one. Vince Russo. If you have a picture ready, go for it. I'm not going to put them up unless I really have to.
I don't have a picture. I was just going to put the disclaimer back up.
That's fine if you want to do that. That's fine too. I mean, we are talking about it because it did say these runs be addressed today. And yes, I put a running poop above the word runs on purpose. If you can see it, great. If not, blame Pixar because it is what it is. Not Pixar. I'm not shitting on Pixar. I love Pixar. Pixar, the app. All right. So Vince Russo is WWE champion. I mean, people are going to shit on both of us. Arquette's on our list. He's not. I've crapped in that ring so long that I'm almost literally having to take anti-diarrhea pills to stop crapping on that reign. This one, though, I haven't trashed near as often as I should. At least Arquette's reign got what it needed to get done. It got the attention from the press. It promoted the movie. It did everything it wanted to do, and that what Russo and Bischoff wanted to do. Vince Russo as WWE champion was nothing more than a glorified New Yorker wannabe wrestler making his little dreams come true. And it was terrible. And that's why it lasted a week. Oh, well, Jeff, he got a concussion. Oh, well, Jeff, he couldn't wrestle and he knew he couldn't wrestle, so he should have been the goddamn champion in the first place then. Really. If you know you can't, then you shouldn't book yourself as the champion. Plain and frickin' simple. And I detest the decision to this day. And I know it's been almost 21 years. And I know that the Russo marks on the no DQ side of things are going to be all over me when they see this. And that's fine. I really don't care because I know in my heart that reign was completely, utterly unnecessary. And the reason I say that is because he won it from Booker T. And when he vacated it, it came down to Booker T and Jeff Jarrett wrestling for it, and Booker T won it back. So there was no reason to take it off Booker T if you're going to put it right back on Booker T. Useless. 100%.
I completely agree with you. You know, some people would say, well, if you're going to get on Russo for the WCW title, why aren't we getting on McMahon for the WWF title?
Okay. If you want to retort that first, go ahead. Otherwise, I got plenty on that one too, but go ahead.
No, I'm not going to retort. It's just both Vinces holding the world championship for the company they run in the same year, a couple months apart.
No, Vince was 99 actually, so that wasn't.
Okay.
But the reason I don't say McMahon's WWF championship run, that run advanced storylines. Yes, the belt went back to Hunter after the vacancy. Granted, I get you that. But that advanced storylines in more ways than one. Austin helped Vince win, which was a complete mind screw in the first place. That Austin helped Vince even then, number one.
Foreshadowing, maybe?
Maybe. Number two, it got Triple H so wound so tight at Vince that when he lost the title back at Survivor Series because of Vince, the ultimate goal shifted from regaining his lost prize to taking Vince out at Armageddon. And did he do it or not? He accomplished the goal. Vince was gone for almost 3 months after that, after the turn out by Stephanie. So that championship reign and subsequent self-vacancy also advanced the storyline of Vince wasn't involved in Mr. McMahon things creatively on TV because of the match with The Undertaker and Austin at Fully Loaded. So Vince McMahon got reinstated on TV as an authority figure, and Austin got his title shot at No Mercy after Triple H won it back at Unforgiven. So there was significant storyline advancement throughout that whole thread. Vince Russo's reign, useless. And I only say that because Russo didn't even focus on Booker after that. He focused on taking out Goldberg, which, by the way, I applaud that for the record. But no storyline advancement whatsoever with Vince Russo as the WCW World Heavyweight Champion. That's why I rank it way below Arquette's. Like, if Arquette is the bottom of the barrel, Russo is the dregs out of that barrel of bourbon that even the freaking Tennesseans won't drink no more. Okay? Seriously. It's absolute crap.
Okay.
Now, you're all going to tell me, well, McMahon's ECW championship run advanced storylines, and it led to Lashley. It didn't lead to Lashley doing any goddamn thing except leaving sooner. So don't give me that shit. I'll tell you that right now. There was no reason for Lashley to lose the ECW championship. You want to have Vince feud with them, that's fine. But when you think about the fact that this reign with Vince ECW champion led to 3, count them, 1, 2, 3, pay-per-view main events in a row where it was Lashley versus the McMahons and Umaga. So storylines didn't advance. They stopped quicker than the Coyote chasing the Roadrunner and running up to him and stopping right there in the middle of an Acme commercial. Like, complete dead stop. And Lashley regaining the championship only to lose it when he was drafted to Raw. Why? What was the point? Did it get Lashley more over? Maybe. I only say maybe because he got a WWE Championship match in that 5-way, whatever it was, cluster that Cena defeated Foley in. And then he got a one-on-one with John and lost. And he was gone. So who benefited from that? Vince. Who was the headline, the major story factor of that story? Vince. Like, I mean, the enduring memory of that whole storyline is McMahon in the barber's chair with Austin and Lashley and the Pretender next to him with the shaving cream. That's the enduring memory. Not Vince ECW champion, not Lashley's ultimate redemption at One Night Stand, I want to say it was. That. Both skidded things to a complete halt and did nothing to make anything better long term. That's why we only spent about 10 minutes on it, because if I got wound up on them both, we'd be here for 6 hours. Because, oh my God, especially Russo. Like, Vince, at least to his credit, McMahon stuck with it and was just an obnoxious plasterhead about it. And because, I mean, the do-rag, it's just, Vince McMahon at least was entertaining about it as champion, ECW champion. Did I still hate the fact as an ECW purist that he did? Oh, God, yeah. Dude, the hardcore fans wanted to hang him in effigy from the top of the ECW arena, and I don't blame them. Okay? But at least he provided us with some funny moments as champion. Russo did nothing of the sort.
Fair enough.
Very much. If you have anything to add about Vince, by all means, go for it, bro.
No, you pretty much said everything. I just remember him winning the belt and being like, what the holy hell is going on here? This is everything that Paul Heyman wanted to get away from when Shane Douglas threw the NWA title down. Like, if they couldn't get him strung up to the ECW arena, the Hammerstein Ballroom would have been a good supplement.
Nice little room there with a big hole in the middle, so it actually would have been maybe even better, because it's a good tall,
but
still under a building. And
then he just wouldn't lose it. He was the freaking little engine that could. The Energizer Bunny just kept going and going and going. And it's like, oh my God, like, drop the belt already.
I knew we were in trouble. Not even night of Backlash. Like, okay, maybe they'll do something. He beats Rob the first night in defense. I'm like, all right, that's it. I'm done. I can't with this shit. He's beating Rob Van Dam for the ECW Championship defense. I am over this. Please make it stop right now. Because at least Rob was the face of that reboot. And not to knock on Rob or Heyman, but being the face of that reboot was having like a bullseye picture on the front of your ass. Like, it was bad. So for him to not only not win the title back at all during that whole run, but to lose to Vince in his first defense, it's like, right there, just done. Oh, no wonder he opted out of his contract after the storyline with Randy. Like, yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
Take me down to the paradise city where the grass is green and the girls are pretty. Oh, won't you please take me home? Welcome to the jungle. We got fun and games. Whoa, we shine a light. Yeah, they're loaded like a freight train, flying like an aeroplane, speeding like a space brain. One more time tonight. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Welcome to the jungle. Watch it bring you to your knees. Take me down to the paradise city where the grass is green and the girls are pretty. Oh, won't you please take me home? I wanna go. I wanna go. Oh, won't you please take me home, baby?
And welcome back to this week's episode of Dads, not always on wrestling, here on the Jeff Meacham Network. Yes, you will notice I am slightly attire different, as is Jay's background is slightly different, because as you sit here and watch this half of the show, we are on August 29th. We're taping this Sunday night because Jeff messed up again. So basically,
Jeff do as Jeff do.
Jeff do as Jeff do. Meach doing Meach things. So we recorded the show. Great show. You just saw the rant we did on, well, I did, and JJ graciously let me just do my thing because it pretty much said what we all both wanted to say because, damn it, those rants were terrible. But like we said at the top, we didn't want it to be, if we would have done the World Champions and included those two, it would have been another 4-hour Renegade exclusive because we would have gone off on the Russo and McMahon reigns for the rest of the week. But then the tag was made, as they say in the business. We did my half of the show, and it's gone. Don't know where it is. Couldn't tell you where it is. Somewhere in cyberspace out there. If you have it out there, great. If not, tough. But we're here. I have headset on. I'm still wearing the same stuff as is Jay. We're just gonna go with it. Elephant room has been addressed. So there we go. Now I got the shot. So, I mean, again, Jay's list was pretty damn good, as he do on the wrestling shows. You know, he has the unfortunate task of trying to have me follow him and not, do what we pretty much last show. We did a really good job of not upstage one another. We both had a really good list last week. Matter of fact, you mentioned to me that your significant other was impressed with my list, and I found that kind of interesting when we talked about that on recap. That was kind of cool. So, all right. Again,
I always try to do my due diligence. I always try to do my homework.
Yes,
because I have to contend with the professor.
Yeah, and that's
so yeah. I need to try to come off as somewhat educated.
Right.
Without talking basically out of my ass for 45 minutes and then you going, hold my beer.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Let me explain to you and all my fans why everything that you just said for 45 minutes was wrong, and here's the true list.
Right. Well, luckily with this particular list, and again, I say it, with a proverbial grain of salt or whatever, there are so many great champions in wrestling. And we talked about that Sunday as we were going into Base 73 about how the lineage of that championship is just so notoriously awesome that there's been very few where you go, really? Yeah, I mean...
The NWA World's Heavyweight Championship, the proverbial 10 pounds of gold, is still basically my favorite championship in wrestling history. I've been able to see it defended on multiple occasions. I've been able to hold it. I've been able to have the champion in my vehicle. So yes. There's always going to be a special nature, a special connection to that championship for me. And I'm sure for you as well, especially being a wrestling historian,
Yes.
professor as you are.
Yes.
You know, when it comes to like other championships that I love, like the European title, I always got a kick out of.
Right.
I always thought it looked good. It had a nice look to the belt. There were some respectable champions. There were some others that weren't. Looking at you, Naked Midian. But
He may or may not be here momentarily. Anyway,
but you know, the X Division title, the original X Division title.
Oh yeah.
Again, always loved the look of that. Had the privilege of being in its presence on more than one occasion and being photographed with it, and having the champion go to the locker room to pull it out of his duffel bag just for me to get a picture with it.
Found out, by the way, Jericho Cruise attendee, Frankie Kazarian. So tickled to see Frankie. I'm so happy.
I sent you that, dude.
Oh, yeah, you did. You're right. You did. I'm sorry.
Him and Sky both.
Daniels, not Sky.
Is it? I thought it was Sky too.
I didn't see Sky.
I could be wrong.
He may have been on there. I just remember him being
there. But
in
any event, you know, Frankie on the cruise, you've got to try and get a sit down with him. But we're doing what we do. We get off in the weeds.
That's okay.
We need to get Jeff to do his list, because as we film this, it is 9:00 at night. Reshooting this, you know, less than a week before it makes air. Hopefully he won't lose it, have it crash, some kind of error with it. You know.
I know. Working on it.
Delete.
That's it. So the way I had this, I was going so many different directions in my head with this list, because, you know, it's kind of like the PWI 500 in reverse, right? Like, oh, number 500 is the worst ever. It's like, no, he's in the top 500 in the whole world. There's like thousands more that are worse than that person. So, but these guys are just, why were they champion? Why is this reign a thing? We talked about it in the during the interlude, the introduction. We talked ad nauseum about it with the Vince McMahon and Vince Russo reigns, because by God, no. But some of these that I have on my list aren't necessarily like, why were they champion? It's, why were they champion this version of them? Or why were they champion? What was the point, right?
Yeah.
Like, what was the motivation behind it?
Some of the reigns could have been okay if they were just used as transition.
Right.
But some of them had way too long of a reign, and it's like, huh?
Yeah,
no.
Just no. On levels. And again, some of them were transition or not, it shouldn't have happened. There's just no way. And this one wasn't necessarily a transition, my number 10. And I don't think that they didn't deserve it necessarily, but it was just one of those things where it's like, I don't know if I like this. I don't know if I understand it, because of what we were being told was the aim. Bertha Faye as the WWF Women's Champion back in 1995. I mean, it's just sad, because Rhonda Singh as a wrestler was not a bad wrestler at all. She was one of the better women's wrestlers to be out there in the market, if you will, at a time that WWE was looking for quality female wrestlers. Or, again, so we were told back when Medusa was recruited into the fold and became the WWF Women's Champion as Alundra Blaze. But Bertha Faye, the gimmick of Bertha Faye, was just so bogus and such a slap in the face to everybody involved. God, poor Bruno, poor Harvey. You know, it's just.
I agree with you, but you've also got to look at the landscape at the time that she was Bertha Faye.
I know.
You know, Duke the Dumpster Drozy, the Goon, Mantar, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were still a good couple of years away from attitude and more authentic, realistic gimmicks. Characters like Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels notwithstanding.
Right.
But I mean, we were in the land of bogus, cartoony gimmicks.
Right.
She just did what she had to do to get TV time.
I don't disagree with her taking the job by any means. You do what you got to do to get that payday. right? But it was just so silly. And
I
such
agree with you.
and being, for lack of a better term, raised in a mobile home park, which people erroneously call a trailer park, it is different. But having that be ridiculed just was the icing on the proverbial pink cake. Like, I'm good, thanks.
But imagine if she had come in there at that time and started wrecking us like Awesome Kong.
Right.
It was not the time for that.
Yeah. Did we mention on Sunday about Kia? I think it's toward the end, right?
We
About
did,
retiring?
yeah.
Okay. Couldn't remember. It's been a couple days, or it feels like a couple days. It's only been a few hours. I already blew that.
Yeah, I didn't watch Empower. I didn't get to see it, but I had heard about it, so I made sure we brought it up when we were plugging NWA 73 for later that day.
There you go. Number 9 is another one where he'd been champion of a different title before. He'd been a lifelong fan favorite of mine. And it's not necessarily that the reign itself is bad. It's just, I think the gimmick is what bugs me. And the fact that they did return it to its roots of being defended on WCW Saturday Night consistently, but it was still made a joke because the title itself was literally thrown into a trash can months earlier in a different city. And the janitor of WCW at that point found it in another dumpster and said, "I'm the champ." Hacksaw Jim Duggan, easy for me to say, as the WCW World Television Champion. Again, you will not find me shitting on Hacksaw Jim Duggan for any reason other than that U.S. title reign that was like, okay. I mean, is there anybody any more Americana than Duggan? No, but he
except for when he was in Team Canada.
No. Well, yeah, exactly. Which is after this.
That's when you get me crapping on Jim Duggan, which led to my face-to-face altercation with him at WCW Thunder.
Tremendous stuff. Great stuff. But
back when I still believed, God damn it.
That's right. It's still real to me. The fact that he beat Stunning Steve in 45 seconds, which is horse crap, and the fact that he got destroyed by Vader en route to Vader going up to meet Hogan, it was like, why were you even champion? Why? What was the point? Really. But this mess was such a mess, and Duggan did his damnedest to make it not a mess. He was handed a big heaping Triceratops from Jurassic Park sized pile of chicken shit and turned it into Turner Catering style chicken salad. Because Turner Catering, not always so good. But, he was the janitor. He was trying to get a job. And he was the janitor of the company. And he finds the belt, wink, wink. But he did his damnedest to make sure for that, whatever it was, 2-3 months he was champion, that was the spot to watch each and every Saturday afternoon when it was on. And when they rebooted the company in April, they went, hell with it, and got rid of it. So for 20 years, that TV championship might as well have been back in that trash can. It took Billy Corgan, NWA, and the Hard Times pay-per-view to have a tournament final to have Ricky Starks himself, the man who actually beat the man who won the world title Sunday night, Trevor Murdoch, in the tournament final. So you had Ricky Starks and everybody, but it was the legacy up to that point was Arn and then everybody else. That's really what that championship was for me, always. And Booker T, of course, with his amazing run, holding it and regaining it over the years, the battles with Benoit and Finlay and everything they had there. But to have it be not even thrown away this time, just, don't even mention it, was bullshit. And the reign itself was terrible for me.
Yeah.
For that reason.
Agreed.
Number 8, you mentioned him earlier. He wasn't quite headed for the nudist colony yet when he became champion. But another guy that found it in a bag of some sort. It wasn't a trash bag. It was a gym bag of, at the time, the man who was running the show in the WWF, Shane McMahon, on his little boy wonder power trip when Vince was not the greater power. Yes, he was. He wasn't the greater power. Yes, he was. Midian goes into Shane's bag, finds the European Championship, and, can I have this? Sure. And he's recognized as the actual champion. Like, what the shit just happened here?
The expression on the chick's face says it all. It's like, really? He's the champion?
Yeah. I'm gonna use my one for the week. That's the fuck face. Like, what the hell? Like,
But I mean, throw that image back up. Like, I've always just loved the look of that title. Like, something about it to me really popped to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's part glamour, part simplistic.
Yes.
Like the way that red, where the European champion says, it just really jumps off the gold. And then you've got the globe there in the middle.
Yep.
You've got some of the flags down the side, very reminiscent of the NWA.
I was just going to say the shape and the design is very much 10 pounds of gold.
But, you know, it always popped to me. And I've seen, like, the deluxe replicas at Frankenson's for a pretty penny. And I've thought about it, walked away, and thought about it, and walked away, because if I could get any championship that I never owned, that would be the one I would want.
I would.
Considering that I don't think you can walk into and buy a replica of the X Division title.
No.
I've never really seen one for sale.
Nope.
That would trump, pun intended, that championship.
There you go.
But since that's the one that I know I can find somewhere, that's the top of my list, the European title.
And, you know, by the grace of God, we happen to 2 10 pounds of gold replicas that, you know, one of them needed to go somewhere. So there you go.
Thank you again, sir.
Dude, it was your 45th birthday, dude. I gotta go big or go home, right? So there you go. Number 6, again, 2 people you will be very surprised to hear me shit on. But again, not their fault. Going with the booking, right? I find it funny that this is actually not in the record books anymore. This actually doesn't exist. It's a continuation of the one reign that started at Armageddon, I think it was, when he actually became champion. Chris Jericho and China as co-Intercontinental champions. With all of the love I can muster for our girl and for arguably the greatest ever, who is facing the end of his career, maybe Sunday night. Really, right? Le Champion. There you go.
Chris, this title reign made the list for all the wrong reasons.
That's right. You know what happens when you let the company book you into co-reigning as a champion and singles champion and the stupidest thing for a month on TV? You know what happens when you do that?
You make the list.
You just made the list. That's right. Which, by the way, Dad has that shirt. He is wearing on the cruise, as he should. So, there you go.
And this entry in the list goes right between the 23rd and 24th. Arm bars.
Just awful.
And if you get that,
you
stick around. Right. You're probably going to enjoy the rest of this list.
That's right. If you understand that reference, you are cool to stay. You're cool to hang around for the rest of the show. Hopefully, it won't go too long tonight.
And if you don't, we'll see you in a week on a non-wrestling topic.
That's right. He's here on Batman Returns next week. It's good shit anyway for next week, because Batman Returns is always good. So anyway, it's still the greatest Christmas movie ever in the superhero genre. Anyway, moving right along. Yeah, the co-Intercontinental thing was so dumb. And I love the 2 of them. And I love Stephanie, especially back then. But it was just like, oy.
I liked it at first.
Yeah.
But over time, and as the angle went on, it slowly lost me.
What was really dumb for me...
At first, I was like, okay, yeah, you know, I love Chris Jericho. I like China. This is going to work. You've got the odd couple dichotomy going here.
Right.
Let's see where this goes. Yeah. But the payoff wasn't money, in my opinion.
The payoff was a triple threat at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, with Bob Holly.
With one of them not taking the fall. It's like, okay. It was dumb. Like the whole thing just reeked. And not of awesomeness like Edge and Christian. Okay. This is another one. This is 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Number 5 for me that... Actually, 5 and 4 and 2. Actually, 5, 4, 3, and 2 are all the same championship. For what it's worth. And they all just. I'm sorry. 5, 4. Hang on. What the hell did I go here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that was number 7. I'm sorry. So 6, 5, 3, and 2 are the same championship. Okay, here we go. And again, with all the prestige behind this championship in its infancy, the way both companies, WWE and WCW, when they had the championship in their lineup, all the damage they did to it was just atrocious. And when you consider how little regarded the brand that this title is now the cornerstone of, 205 Live, yes, it's still on the air. It's still a thing, but you wouldn't know it. Cruiserweight Championships. I'm gonna skip around a little bit here, so forgive me. But number 6 for me, Daphne becoming champion by beating Crowbar after they co-beat Candido and Tammy or whatever that shit happened. I don't friggin' remember at this point. Number 5, Chavo Classic in WWE. Like again, having Jackie beat Chavo didn't bother me near as much as this. I'm not even gonna lie. Because Jackie I could buy as beating the men up, and she did more than once, so I'm okay with that. Chavo Classic at this point of his career, and may he rest in peace. I love the Guerreros, but no. I'm actually going to change my order here just really quick. I'm doing this on the fly here, so forgive me. Number 3 for me, not even a cruiserweight. So why is he the champion? Why is this horrible, obnoxious, just shithead of a character here? Ugh, terrible. And again, I've met Ed. I have a problem with Ed. I have a problem with the way Ed portrayed JR. Let me not glaze over that. But Ed himself, whatever, dude. He's doing a job. Whatever. And then my number 2, before I get to number 4, number 1, what the hell is this? Why is this a thing? Like, why was he? I get the whole he's a McMahon, he's got to be a champion thing, but even that was a throw-up worthy storyline with him being the illegitimate McMahon child. Like, oh, God. And the fact that he's the last in the original lineage of the Cruiserweight Championship just makes me want to friggin' puke.
All right.
Awful.
Let's go through these one by one real quick.
All right, so Daphne. All right.
Daphne, much like I said regarding the China Jericho thing, when it happened, I popped for this hard.
Of course.
Because I loved the Daphne character. I loved Daphne as a Crowbar. I loved David Flair when he was with them. Yep. The whole little angle. So I popped hard for this when it happened. But again, it didn't really go anywhere. And it WCW was already in the crapper. This didn't help them.
No.
But it also didn't really hurt them.
I'll agree with that. Okay. All right.
Chavo Classic, I believe, was on my list, so we can bypass him.
Yes, he was. I do. I'm gonna go ahead and skim through this on sounds like I can actually hear you talk right now. But I'll go ahead and skim through your list. And then we went to good old Ed here.
Oklahoma. I don't remember if I had Ed Oklahoma on my list or not. If I didn't, it just means that I had so many others that were worse, in my opinion, than him. But even Ed and Russo have said that if they could go back in time and erase something from their reign in WCW, this would be it.
Right.
So the fact that in hindsight, they realize how bad of an idea this was, I'm almost willing to forgive that it ever happened.
Right.
But it purely was played for comedy at a time when making fun of JR was not funny, because he was seriously having his Bell's palsy bouts.
Right.
Like, there were weeks and months on end where he was going to the hospital out of nowhere because of it. And there's Ed Ferrara on Nitro and Thunder doing his, I don't know if you would call it your best or your worst.
Right.
Jim Ross impression, complete with freaking Steve Williams, Dr. Death.
Yeah. That was the worst part for me, was that Dr. Death was co-signing on. Like, really, Steve? And again, a paycheck's a paycheck. I was
going to say, he needed a paycheck. When was the last time before that he was relevant? I'll wait.
The previous year, working with JR, doing the same basic thing.
The fact that Hornswoggle has a better legacy in pro wrestling than Dr. Death
Right.
is just
Well-
a crying shame. And I really wanted to be a Swoggle fan
I know.
for personal reasons,
Of course.
but him being a dick to me.
Yeah. And again, that's not why he's here.
No,
But it doesn't hurt. It doesn't help that he's here.
No.
Yeah. So.
But I mean, he qualifies for a cruiserweight at least.
Right. That's true.
So whereas Ed Ferrara didn't.
No.
But at what point do you draw the line? Like, where do you go from a midget leprechaun? And I know that's like not at all politically correct, but like, where do you go from this?
Yeah. You go to Vicky Guerrero telling him it's not safe because of your lineage. We have to strip you of the belt, and then it just goes away. Like,
yeah.
All right, then.
We don't even get a tournament to crown a new champion where
we had a 9-year wait
with some credibility can have the belt again. No. It's Hornswoggle. The belt was deactivated.
Yeah. And we had a 9-year wait before, to his credit right now, the brand new Papa, TJP, being the champion. So good. I mean, but again, how much have they emphasized it since then? It's again, Vince does not care about the cruiserweights. And he's proven that more than once. So, anyway, so for the record, you had Midian, and you had Chavo Classic, and you also had my number 4, who was lower on your list than she is on mine. And we actually share a number 1, which I was surprised to see in retrospect. But I wasn't ultimately surprised.
I remember your number 1.
Well, I think I changed it since we did the list, but that's okay. Anyway, number 4 for me. Again, I'm not going to dwell too much on it because you touched on it earlier, but I did find the picture for winning the championship. So I did want to throw it up there, which I thought was cool. Even she's like, "Oh, okay, what happened?" She was the last of the McMahons to win their first championship, and I think, like her, everybody was like, "Oh no."
Linda still hasn't won one.
The last of the ones that actually is held. Sorry, I phrased it incorrectly. Of the 3 that has won a championship, she was the last to win her first. So there you go. Anyway. All right, Bruno, my brother, I love you. But forgive me.
I do have to throw it out there, though. To my knowledge, our girl Sandy still wants that SMH T-shirt.
And I am working on that for her. I got my customs guy on the job. It's just he's been out of practice due to the COVID. We've been doing stuff really sporadically here lately. So the fact I got my Fantasmic jacket was a wonder, to be honest with you. And that was back in May before shit started getting worse again. So, Harvey. I mean, it's
no, you didn't change your number 1. That was your number 1 last time.
Oh, it was? Okay, good.
Yeah.
I mean,
Harvey looking like freaking Sandman in that picture, though. Just
Harvey
missing
looks like
the cigarette.
Yeah, Harvey looks like he went to the drag show again, but just didn't bother putting the mask or most of the makeup on. Like, screw it, whatever. Just go like this. Oh, man.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, my list, I actually used the picture of him
dressed
from the female match.
The wig and the jacket. It's like, and again, we love Bruno. He cut a great promo for us for DADS.
Yeah.
But damn, man.
No disrespect to Bruno, Harvey, however you want to reference him, but him as the women's champion.
Oh, so bad. So bad. And yes, it was for a day. It was for 3 days on TV. But you know what? It shouldn't have happened.
No, not at all.
I also, and again, this is going to sound way too conspiratorial than it means to be. But think about this. The Cat loses her championship, the only championship she won in the whole company, on that bullshit. And then a year later, she gets ran out of Dodge for reasons unknown to this day. How do you have somebody on there who, at the time that the audience was major sold on sex, dude, Stacey Carter was like, all right, how much can I take off before you throw me off the air?
Yeah.
And they get rid of her and they take the belt off her like this. Like, okay.
Yeah.
And
you got Jacqueline on Mark Miller's shoulders getting her top ripped off.
And you can't tell me, well, we were going for the wrestlers. No, you weren't.
you didn't have an actual women's division to really start taking things serious-ish until the following year's Survivor Series when Trish won the six-pack. And even then, there were still bra and panties matches on pay-per-view for the title.
Yeah.
So you can, we took it off Stacey because she wasn't a wrestler. So Harvey was a female wrestler. Got it. So Chyna was supposed to be in the women's division. Even though, yes, she's a woman, but Joni will kick everybody's ass. No. You're wrong, and you're wrong for it here. And again, we love Harvey, Bruno, but bad decision. It is, for our money, outside of the McMahon-Russo, the horror. It is the worst championship reign in history.
Yeah, I don't remember if it was my one or not, but I do remember it was on my list.
It was because it went from number one to the Russo McMahon discussion.
Okay, so yeah,
for once in a great while,
I don't think anybody can argue us that outside of the Vinces, Hervina, Harvey Whippleman, Downtown Bruno, again, however you want to call him, as the women's champion, is the worst thing to ever happen to a championship.
But at the same time, he can cut a promo like this.
This is Downtown Bruno, long-time legend in his profession, reminding you to watch Dads on Wrestling every Thursday on YouTube.
And we love him all over again, so it's okay.
Yeah.
It's just, we love you, brother. We miss you, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we got through that. What's great is we're actually all caught up now as far as recording, because the next thing we have to do, we actually have to do still. So
yeah,
it's always a good thing.
Yes, and that one is going to be another fun-filled extravaganza.
Yeah, I still have to really formulate my list because, again, this was a topic that I introduced into the situation, but you were like, yeah, but. Like, you can't just, do the stereo. That's not what that is. I'm like, well, what the hell is it then? And we kind of laid it out. So if you're wondering what I'm talking about, here's the graphic right here. It is the top 10 musical moments that are featured in a non-musical movie. Now, I know I have John Cusack there with the stereo and the whole thing. That's not what we're talking about. I just thought the graphic was cool, and the Dad's logo fit in really nicely on that stereo. So,
yeah, because at the end of the day, that scene is just him playing a love song for Ione Skye's character in the movie, trying to win her back.
Exactly.
That is not a musical moment. When you think of a musical moment, you think of your typical musicals. You think of Annie, Rent, Chicago, Bye Bye Birdie, West Side Story, whatever. You think of characters singing and dance routines and choreography, possibly even lip syncing, but you think of this monumental moment within the film, but these aren't from musicals.
Right.
These are random musical type of moments along that line from movies that aren't musicals.
Right. If I may tie it into somebody that, some of my people are fans of, I know you're not the biggest fan as far as I remember anyway. If you follow the Buffyverse, Once More with Feeling.
Yeah.
It's very much an
episode. That was an entire musical episode.
Yeah.
But every single other episode of the show had nothing to do with being a musical.
And literally the
perfect example.
I'm glad you brought it up. The musical moments came at a random whim of a guy casting a spell over the residents of Sunnydale. So there was some significant dialogue throughout the episode, but pretty much it was just, let's just break into song randomly. It was like, what the shit is going on? That was the gimmick.
Yeah.
So,
We'll get into more definition of it on the show, because once I have my defined list, once I have Jeff's defined list, I'll actually put together a little montage to roll at the beginning of the show.
Perfect.
Of clips that got left out.
There you go.
That way it's not anything that'll pop up on our lists,
right,
but it'll give you guys a better understanding and idea of what we're talking about.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to the creativity spewing in my brain here as we come along here. And I will say this. Let me see if I can see where it went. But then we get into October in 4 weeks, 4 weeks.
And we get 3 Dads episodes in October,
which I'm very excited about. All 3 of those episodes, because one of which we filmed already. Let me just
Yeah.
clear it up right now. And it is set. It is actually going to be uploaded tonight as we tape this Sunday. I just have to finish the editing part of it. I'm almost done with the editing, so yay me. But October 1st, in 4 weeks, we go into a structure that was covered in June this year because WWE is weird this year. It's 2021, of course they're weird. But we go into a structure that was designed originally to harbor a degenerate to get his ultimate demise. And I'm, of course, talking about Hell in a Cell and the top 10 matches under the Hell in a Cell jurisdiction, whatever you want to call it. So that'll be fun.
Not matches that happened at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view.
No.
The matches that happen inside of the cell.
And no, we're not counting the Austin Kane title match, although that will get honorable mention just because most of that took place in the cell too, because it's crazy.
Nor are we going to count the Kennel from Hell.
No, because that belongs at the end of a lost episodes list that we'll never find ever again.
You know, at the end of the day, on paper, it was a great concept.
Yep.
And execution, it was horrible. And the two people involved in it were the wrong two people to put in it. No disrespect to Bossman or Al Snow as performers.
Right.
But for a stipulation like that, you want something of more grandeur.
I honestly think that would have fit perfectly on the other side of the war and a Steiner Brothers match, Rick versus Scott.
The dog-faced gremlin.
With some actual attack dogs or even, more vicious animals, not dogs that couldn't decide whether to shit or hump all match. I feel so bad for Alan Ray to this day. I really do. It's so bad. And thank God Boston's legacy isn't tied to that. Al Snow is forever screwed. He's screwed. But Bossman at least had a better legacy without it. But then, in 6 weeks, our dad's episode will be, as you see there, the top 10 songs to play at a Halloween party. Now, Jay will explain this more on the air as we get along on that show, but this was one of the few times he actually asked me for my list ahead of time because he actually wanted to know what I was presenting. That way we didn't have any duplicates because if you're going to have a Halloween party, unless you're going to play, the 15-minute video Thriller on loop for 2 hours, you've only got 3-minute snippets for a party. That's like a half hour if you do the same list. So we give you at least an hour, kids. There you go.
Yeah. I wanted there to be at least 20 songs for you to begin your playlist with. And then once you see where we're going with it, the old flux capacitor should start fluxing and the brain juice is going. And you should be able to find other songs in a similar vein to add to the list to make a pretty awesome Halloween party. And we even throw a few kid-friendly songs in there.
Yes, we do.
Because you got to figure for at least the first hour of any decent Halloween party, the kiddies are still up.
Trick-or-treating, absolutely.
Before they're sent to bed, coming off of that sugar rush and crashing, the kiddies are still up, so you got to have a few songs in there that are going to be pleasing to their ears as well.
Yes, and we had a great show. Like I said, I'm editing right now. I highly encourage you guys to watch it as soon as it premieres at 7:00 Eastern that Friday the 15th because that's the day Halloween Kills is released. Finally, go see that shit because. We'll talk about that in a little while. And then the last show of the month on the 29th, I was thinking about this, Jay. We talk about keeping it kid-friendly for the first few songs or whatever of a party. But, if you're going to finish October strong and you're going to finish something with some grit, if you will, on a wrestling show.
Gusto.
You've got to go.
You're getting close to Halloween.
Yes.
I think I know where you're going with this, though. You can't live in a PG world forever. At some point, you've got to get rated R.
And that's what we will do on the 29th because we will showcase the greatest matches in the history of the rated R superstar, the Hall of Famer, the man who we revealed last Sunday on Renegade's Recap is the winningest SummerSlam competitor in history, Edge. And
let me just say that
Halloween. It's his birthday.
Yeah. Let me just say that Edge's entrance at SummerSlam was beyond epic.
Yes.
And although they don't have the rights to the music, if Christian can piggyback off of that at All Out,
Right.
that would be amazing also.
I don't know if you saw the reports. They were going to bring Dave in.
I heard about that. I heard that Dave lost a gig because of that.
And Adam Call's like, dude, my bad. But Tony still paid him, so it's okay.
Yeah.
It worked out.
But it would still be awesome to see Christian come out under the rain with the rain of fire.
Right.
He using whatever his song is.
Yeah.
You know, there, but still just the moment. Be like, cheers to you, brother.
Yeah. He actually uses his TNA theme, which is fine by
me.
Ooh,
the Evanescence wannabe song? Yes.
With the countdown. Cool. With the 10-second countdown. It's almost the exact same thing. It's just the Catnet video is different because it's not TNA, it's AEW. But yeah, when that song hit, I'm like, oh shit, Christian's back. And that happened when I was up at Teresa's doing the watch alongs. That was cool.
And let's not forget what's going to come in between those shows in October.
I was gonna say, man,
you got your 2 replays of Renegade's reviews: The Mummy with Boris Karloff and Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein.
Yes. And in September, our replays are going to be, as I showed you earlier, Batman Returns, which is my favorite Christmas movie. I said what I said. It's not really, but it's my favorite Christmas superhero movie. And then, of course, Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice, which we talked about Sunday, gets shit on way too easily. And y'all need to give that a solid. Go on HBO Max and watch that shit. It's so good.
I love how you ended up with The Dark Knight both times for the replay. I mean, there is so much Batman content that's going to be coming in September.
So good.
It's
so happy for that.
Insane.
Yeah, I mentioned it Sunday. I'm going to say it again, man. Peaks and valleys with the DC movies. It's
I'm as we're filming this, I have been watching the serial.
Yeah.
The 43, and I'll save my review for it'll have already aired by the time this goes on.
Right. It's back on Wednesday, right?
I'll just save everything I have to say. You will have seen it on Wednesday, but since we're filming it in advance.
Yes. I mean, the serials are good. And like I said, we talked about these last 2 days on Renegade's reviews. The 6/6 movie is just beautiful. And you actually just saw that if you're watching this right now. That just was on at 6 o'clock. But man, once you get past Superman 2, it's like, oof, for a while. Until 89. And then Batman, okay, we're saving the day. And then 97. And yeah, we did that for a while. And then it's all the whole way through. So, and I still say once you get into the DCEU, it's nowhere near as low a value as people claim it is. So I recommend everybody, most of them are on HBO Max now anyway. Like if you have HBO Max, you've got these. The only ones I know for sure aren't there are the Batman serials. And I think 66 is not on there either. So, but 66 is on YouTube for free, for the record. So if you didn't watch the review today earlier, once you're done with us, which is a shorter time than usual this week, thank God for that, go watch 66 on YouTube and watch this man's review and give him the feedback. We love getting feedback from you guys on his channel. We want feedback on his reviews because we want to involve you guys in more than just the wrestling business here on the Jeff Meacham Network and the Constantine Studios. So please let us know what you think.
Definitely.
Man, it's one of the things I kind of scaled back on the stuff I am doing, but man, I'm looking forward to it. We got All Out this weekend. AEW. If what Punk said is true last week, man, we're about to hit a major home run out of the Wrigley Field area. Ooh, can't wait to see him if he does show up, man. And there will be a final countdown of hearing my heart explode Sunday night. I'll tell you that right now.
Yep.
Oh, please.
If you don't believe him, go back and watch our underrated theme songs video and watch how this man reacted when he heard that song kick in over the speakers.
It's funny when you're in Brian Danielson final countdown for the record. If you guys are not paying attention to what I'm talking about here, I didn't appreciate it in the moments at PWG or at the other indie shows because it's he'll be here forever. He'll never get signed. Yeah, he did. So and he's been gone for over 10 years. So if that music hits in that Chicago venue, oh my god. But we'll see what happens Sunday. That's Sunday. Next week, of course, in this time slot, we'll see the replay of the 6 o'clock review of Batman Returns, which I love Batman Returns. It's arguably my favorite of the two with Keaton. So I always look forward to seeing anybody talk about that ever. And then we go on from there. So stay tuned, everybody. We appreciate you guys tuning in. We appreciate the dealing with my ramblings and my screw-ups again. As far as I know, I'm looking back in the archives, this is the last one where you have to do anything again. So I think we're okay now going forward. So in 2 weeks, right here, the top 10 musical moments to be in a non-musical movie. Keep that in mind as you go along the next 2 weeks here. He is the Renegade. I am the Meach, and we will see you guys next time.